What is good, guys? Welcome back. Listen, I know obviously it's been a minute, but I'm here with my guy Yay Not Gaming on Outside the Sticks, episode 5. We're going to be going over a lot of things today. We're going to be talking about the MVP race. We're going to dive a little into the All-Star game. We're going to do a little preview of the ticket and also the playoffs. But like I said, there's a lot going on tonight. But hey, Yay, welcome, man. It's been a minute. How are you?
Man, doing great, man. It's been a minute. Glad to be back.
Man, let me tell you, though, I will say one person who stayed consistent in this entire season is constantly posting content around this league and everything going on outside the league. It's my guy, Yay Not Gaming, man. And you're everywhere, man. You're on BFW Live. You've been on the Twitch broadcast. You're jumping on everyone's shows. Now you're over here, man. You're all over the place, man. How do you do it?
Man, a lot of no sleep, man, pretty much.
Man.
A lot of not sleeping.
You've been on that grind, but you know what? Let's get right into it. Let's get into what everyone's going to come in here and likely want to see, the MVP race, okay? So, obviously, I have the analytics here. With the analytics, obviously, it's not going to tell you the full story about a player's season. Everyone's always about eye test, but stats is what really comes down to when it comes to MVP. And I've heard some things about, I think Frank was talking about that you were on another show. I think you were on Coach's show or something like that, where you were talking about, was it Kai that you said that you think should not win MVP because of his team that he has? I'd like to kind of go into that. I didn't actually get to watch. What are your thoughts on Kai being the MVP, and why should he not win it, or why should he?
I was, I think, me and Frank was talking about that. I think it was more, he was leaning towards Chalk being MVP. And that's who I was kind of like saying I don't think should get it based on the team he has. Mm-hmm. But I think Kai kind of had the same thing. He's put a lot of talent around him. I think everybody on his team is a top player. The only one that isn't really putting the numbers up really is Bear. But even Bear is having a decent season. He's very unselfish, so he don't have to put up 30 points. Mm-hmm. Even when Kai has bad games, Bear is always there to put the buckets in. But in terms of Kai, the way he's been playing, I think he's shooting what? Let me look at the stats. Yeah, he's 63% from three.
So that is actually, analytically, he is one of the best shooters in the entire 2K League with 3-point percentage, actually. I didn't get a chance to... So if you don't know, obviously I'm still working on this graphic, but the white rankings is what they are at their own position. So, Kai is first in points per game at his position, but overall, his analytics, he's first in points per game at his position, but he's 10th in points per game overall in the entire league. I'm still working on the graphic. Obviously, it's not fully finished. When I do finish this segment, I will make sure that it's updated. But the gold is overall where they rank in the entire league. So, for an example, Kai is first in steals in the entire 2K League. The guy has 2.28 steals per game. So he has more steals than all the locks in the entire league, who their primary job is to get steals and play defense. So that alone is a glaring thing. And when it comes to Kai, another thing is his effective field goal percentage. So when it comes to efficiency, Kai is one of the most efficient players in the entire league. Obviously, centers are some of the most efficient, because they're taking a lot of twos. But when it comes to scoring, Kai has been one of the most efficient guards out there. And the fact that so for one thing that kind of stuck out to me, I got some analytics from some guys that the difference between a Kai and 630 is 630 is took I think about 600 shots, if when I'm not mistaken. He's taken a larger amount of shots for his team. And as you take more shots, your percentages tend to go down. But my concern with 630 is I feel like he's he's efficient, but he's not efficient enough for for the amount of touches he gets. A 46.15 3-point percentage, that's a little, I feel like that's kind of that's not too good. He's ranked 12th at his position for threes. And obviously Kai, being a shooting guard, it's a little different. He's not always having to shoot as many shots. And as you shoot more shots, your percentages should go down. But I just feel like 46% at the three is kind of an alarming number to me when it comes to 630 for MVP.
I mean, I get that. We got to look at the talent around them and where they were as a franchise. The Pacers, they didn't have a point guard for for 3 seasons. Oh, they had one. They just didn't have a great one for 3 seasons, and it showed on the court. And they were able to win ball games. They bring in 630, then right away out the gate, he's averaging 32 plus points, and he's winning games for them. They're 20-8, totally changing the whole franchise around. They still have Jomar from the previous year, Wolf from the previous year, Swizzer from the previous year in the lineup, and that should tell you right then and there. Even if they bring Lavish in, Lavish isn't like a top power forward. He's a solid pro. He's always gonna be a good guy to be on a roster, but he's not a top power forward. So like if you replace 630 with a middle of the pack point guard, this Pacers team is like 14-14 at best. Mm-hmm. So like bringing the guy in like 630 who's coming and changing the whole team around, putting the team on his back. He's a volume shooter, so he got to get the shots up. That's why his 3-point percentage isn't that great. He's going to dribble the air out of the ball until he gets open.
Yeah.
And so like most of his misses are blinking. So and nobody else on the court is really going to put the ball in the hole. So he's going to have to either dance around and get himself open, or dance around and get somebody else open.
You do know Swizzer is in second. He's one of the top 3-point shooters in the entire 2K League. You know that, right?
How much is he putting up?
I'll tell you right now. Give me 1 second. With Swizzer, like I said, he's one of the top 3-point shooters at shooting guard. So when it comes to his analytics,
it's like you talking about like percentage wise?
Yeah, percentage wise, he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the entire 2K League at shooting guard.
He should be. They had 3 people on him when they was playing against Detroit. He's sitting there wide open at the hash.
But I'm just saying in general for the entire season. So right now, Shifty Kai's number 1 with 63.93. That's his 3-point percentage. Second place is Beast Move, and then comes Swizzer. Swizzer averages 6 threes a game. He shoots 6 threes a game and makes 3 of them, like 3.5. 3.35. So Swizzer is one of the most. He's like one of the best 3-point shooters in the entire league at the shooting guard position. So let's not take away from 630.
How much is he averaging points wise?
Points wise, 630. That's.
I'm talking about Swizzer.
Yeah, Swizzer is 13 points per game. So that is about. So if I was to put that in like full,
that should tell you right then and there that he's getting catch and shoots. He's not dancing to get himself open.
Yeah, but either way, that's like he's what you're. Like, he's not like your traditional sharp that like it is this year, where you need to put the ball on the floor. He's just your catch and shoot guy, which is exactly what 630 needs. He needs a guy to just yeah. I'm not saying that Swizzer takes the full load off of him, but he definitely does help the fact that he's open shots. Because if he's not hitting those open shots, that's a dramatic. There's a reason why they switched from Rando to Swizzer, and there definitely was a difference when they put Swizzer back in the lineup. I hear Harris says a lot. Swizzer is the 2K League zombie. You can't kill him. He can't. You say that this guy doesn't play he doesn't play in the offseason, but he'll come back in the 2K League and he'll just he'll ball Like I said, he's a top 3-point shooter in the entire league, so that definitely helps 630. And again, Jomar's been having a really good year as well. And again, I'm not saying this isn't thanks to 630. Again, this team would not be where they are without 630. But the same, you could say the same case for Kai. If Kai's not on that T-Wolves team, they're not the number 1 seed. But at the end of the day, it's like let's not downplay how good the Pacers overall have been playing. Jomar, when I look at Jomar this year, I think this is probably one of his best years. Like last year, he had a pretty decent year. He was okay, but he's having he's not having a bad year this year. This is
the best season.
So he's a top rebounder. He's actually 5th in rebounding right now, Jomar. When it comes to Jomar, obviously rebounding is big for centers. Jomar is number 1 in steals right now in the 2K League. He's number 6 or 7 in blocks per game. Field goal wise, let me look at field goal percentage for Jomar. Jomar is he's pretty far down. He's pretty far down for field goal percentage wise. That is one thing I will say. He's not super good when it comes to, but it's also probably a lot of times it's just like last minute passes because we're waiting for if 630 is not open. You know what I mean? So I would say that when I look at the Pacers, yes, I will say that. We look at the surrounding cast of T-Wolves Gaming, where you have a former champion in Bear to Beast. You have Slaughter, who just came off obviously playing in the finals. Those are 2 players that, yes, they're all-star caliber players in a way. Maybe not all-star, but they're at the top of their class. You know what I mean? They're pretty good. They're pretty good at their positions. Bears had a kind of a really, believe it or not, analytically, Bear has not been one of the best guards, but that's because he's sacrificing a lot of his like his numbers to give to Kai, because Kai is essentially taking that workload that traditionally most point guards would take. So with Kai, he's basically just a point guard playing shooting guard. That's really what he is. You know, he's the primary ball handler on his team, but the roles, it's just a different dynamic. It's a different role. And I just think that what Kai is doing is really unappreciated for what it's worth. And the guy, like I said, we talked about before, he's number one in steals in the entire league. So he's showing that he's great on both sides of the ball. So he's looking like one of the best two-way players this year in the league. The fact
yeah, I agree with you. I'll entertain the Kai MVP. Yeah, like me and Joe Vegas, when we were talking on the phone, and we were looking at his numbers, and I was like, man, Kai, like the fact that he was able to stay number one in steals for so long and shoot 60% from the field. I mean, 60% from three. I know, like they like to, play away from the lock over there, but like he gets it off the dribble and off the decks and on breaks. Like he scores like any type of way you need him to, and like he's been doing it all season. And they're number one in the West, so it's like, yeah. I mean, if Kai gets it, it makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't be mad if I see Kai get it. I also wouldn't be mad if Splash get it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another person we'll talk about. But just so you know, with Kai, so out of guards, he's the number one shooter out of all guards in the entire league. The only reason he's not number one is because like guys like Glow who shot like 1-3 or shots. You know what I mean? Like there's like a bunch like Awkward. I think is probably like the closest, but like so Kai has shot Kai on average shoots 8.7 threes per game. So that's like the highest out of anyone in his caliber, like in the top threes. This guy's making, that's crazy actually. The efficiency, the fact that he's making it basically 5.5 out of every 8.7 threes. That's crazy. So like for how efficient he is when it comes to shooting the three ball, and the fact that he has one of the best percentages, like he's showing high efficiency. That's the reason why they're the number one seed. Because of how efficient he is from the three. Because remember, shoot more threes. Shout out to my guy Fox. You know, threes are more efficient. Kai had a crazy season. His efficiency is insane compared to everyone else. Also led the league in steals. I think him and Chalk are 1A and 1B to be honest. So we'll get to Splash, but I want to talk about Chalk a little because obviously we had a lot of interesting discussions. You know, obviously on the timeline. You know, people getting upset about Chalk, stating his stats. What are your thoughts on that whole, like, obviously, we've kind of seen what's gone on the timeline. What are your thoughts of Chalk kind of coming out, putting his numbers out? Is it fair for the reaction that he got from people, or is it kind of what, we expected?
Like I said, but like Chalk is one of the people that, I just have fun, like, rooting against him. So I think he's very talented and he's very entertaining. He's just doing, he's doing what he always does. He's being entertaining. He's the most entertaining guy in the league besides Bear. He came in, they were shooting the ball within like 4 seconds. I watched Coach King rewatch the game on his stream earlier today, and they were going over the Bucks Nets, and they were literally shooting the ball within 4 or 5 seconds. And he got his stats. He's trying to go for the 60 and 30. But in terms of like the body of work of the entire season and the way Chalk was hooping all year, I think that team, like I definitely underestimated that team. I thought they were going to be like a middle of the pack team that kind of fell off towards the end, but like they were able to stay within playoff contention the entire season. They beat all the teams they were supposed to beat, and they were able to steal away into the playoffs. So like they proved me wrong. And but like in terms of the MVP race, if you look at the players around them, if you look at how Slay has been playing all year, it looked like a top power forward. If you look at his numbers, he even posted about it on Twitter. And same thing with Shots. Shots had a really good year at center.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not mistaken, I think he had like his best season. Denver's best season.
This is analytically one of his best years ever. I mean, the guy is averaging 18, almost 20 points per game. I mean, he's got a double-double. You know what I mean? He's averaging a double-double. His assist-to-turnover ratio, he has one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios. He's actually number 3 in the league right now in assist-to-turnover ratio, which is big at center. People really underrate passing centers in this league. Like, that's something that can make such a difference because that's the difference between, most of the passes for centers are for threes. Like, if you think about it, because it's going to be a catch shot out, and a kick out to a three. So, like, that's something that's big for centers. Also with Shots, I mean, he just overall, like, he's been pretty efficient this year. He across the board, all his numbers are really good. And like, I think for them, I mean, and that's where like we asked the question, who's had the worst surrounding cast out of all these candidates, right? Like,
and it was 630.
Would you say it's 6:30 or like
Yeah,
would
yeah,
you?
of course. Yes.
Okay, so earlier, me, Frank, Joe, and a bunch of
It's either
guys.
between 6:30 or chalk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So let's look at 6:30 and chalk surrounding cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like point guards. All right, obviously, like let's just like cancel them out because that's the discussion. We go to shooting guard, right?
Yeah.
So Faiz and Swizerk have both analytically had very similar seasons. Both their 3-point
I'm about to say
percentages.
that's a wash.
Like that's kind of like a dead. Like I feel like that's just an
Yeah.
even kind of thing. With Faiz is like Faiz. I'm sorry, Faiz is better at some things. Like I think that Faiz is better at like eye test wise, you could say Faiz is better at certain things than Swizerk. But like when it comes to the numbers and how they are, I think they're very even. Like in that essence. Lockdown. Let's be honest. The number one issue.
Yeah, Wolf.
Yeah. And like that's just the thing. Like for that team, like there just hasn't been a good lockdown at all for the Nets this year. It's been a wash. Let's be real. But
Yeah.
like
Wolf's had a decent season at lock.
yeah, and that's the thing.
So Wolf and Jomar PNR is not bad.
So here's actually an analytic that most people actually don't know. Shout out to 2K Labs for this. Do you know that Pacers Gaming, on average, only lets point guards score 23.53 points per game? That is the third lowest in the entire league. But then with the Nets they allow 27.6 points per game, which is like one of the worst in the league. That's like bottom 5 worst in the league. So so right now Wolf is not being appreciated for how good of a year he's having, obviously. But he, like that just shows. You know what I mean? Like Randoms is having a good year. Awkward's having a good year. Gradient number 4 is the Warriors. Gradient's having a good year. Number 5 is the Hornets. Trap's having a good year. People aren't talking about people aren't talking about Wolf. You know what I mean? Wolf's having a really good freaking year. So like, that's something that's definitely like people have to kind of account for. But I will say when it comes to that lock, all right, we're going with the Pacers, right? Then we go to power forward, Lavish or Slay. Now,
Slay.
You think Slay?
Yeah.
So
I think Lavish has been doing better in terms of like rebounding the ball. I'll probably give it to Lavish, but
Lavish
all around play, I'll give it to Slay. That's me.
That's you. So I'm gonna kind of just break it down like between those two players. So Steven has been averaging 9.75 points per game, so that's top 10. Where is Lavish? Lavish.
I think Lavish getting about 10 a game, I want to say.
Yeah, hang on, let me find him. Lavish is 7.93. So Slay is more like Slay's scoring more points per game. Okay. Let's go to the next thing. Rebounding. That's the next thing that would matter. Rebounds.
Slay's like first in steals for power forward too. If I'm not
rebounds per game. Lavish is 4th. Slay is pretty far down, but that's probably because shots is grabbing a lot of the boards.
Yeah. Lavish also stepped on center a couple times too.
Yeah, well, no, this is just power forward stats. I have straight power forward stats. I don't have like that. This is not including center stats. This is
okay,
so,
cool.
Slay averages 9.75 rebounds per game. Lavish averages what the heck?
Like probably 4.5 or something like that.
Wait.
Yeah, Lavish definitely.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. All right. Either way, Lavish is a. I think I said Slay's number wrong, but Lavish has more rebounds per game. Assists per game. Lavish has more, but Slay's not far off. It's not a big gap there. Turnovers per game. Slay. It's not really a big. It's not a big difference between those two. Assist to turnover ratio, which is not a big thing at power forward either. They're kind of similar too. You said Slay was number 1 at steals, or what was it?
Well, I think he's 1 in steals for power forward.
No, he's not. Wait, hang on. Let me do 14 game minimum. Let me do that. I didn't do that on the thing. Steven is steals per game. Steven is number 2 behind Bread. So Slay.
Yeah, I forgot about Bread. You're right.
So Steven is right behind him. Lavish is at 0.78. So Steven has had more steals per game. His impact has been bigger on defense. Blocks per game, Lavish has had 0.7. Slay had 0.54. So there's not a huge gap, but there's a little. This is where it comes down to field goal percentage. I think is big for them. Field goal percentage wise, Lavish is 63.46. He averages about 4.5 shots a game. Steven is at 62%. So it's a 2%. It's like a 1% difference
Is that
Steven,
the three?
no, this is field goal percentage. Steven actually shoots a shot and a half more, so Steven does shoot more. So they're like, so I would say, I mean, that is fair to say Steven is above him. 3-point wise,
Yeah, think
Lavish,
about the things that are important to power forwards.
yeah,
Rebounding.
and
How much is Slay scoring? You said like 12? 12 a
yes,
game?
yeah, Steven's scoring
Oh,
more
again,
points
at
per
power
game.
forward,
Yeah,
he's second in steals. He's shooting a better 3-point percentage.
yeah,
And like that, like that's what you want out of your power forward. If we're
yeah,
looking at the
yeah.
power forward and what power forwards
Yeah,
like value in power forward, Slay is
yeah.
like,
Steven's just putting more shots up a game. Their field goal percentage and 3-point percentage are very close. So I would say that the difference between it is the steals, and that's about it. What's up, Mama Slay? What's up, Mama Chalk? People sleep on our defense so much because we play at the highest pace in the league and still top 5 defense. Yeah, you guys are definitely like no one. A lot of people don't give enough credit to your guys' defense. I will say for the Pacers. But anyway, moving on to center. The center matchup. I mean, obviously we're going with shots, right?
yeah.
So I guess it's not. I don't think the gap between Slay and Lavish is like a big gap. Personally, I mean, it's pretty. The teams aren't far off from each other. So I wouldn't say. But I think the difference is that obviously with Pacers, they won more games, right? You know, and defensively they were better. They were a way better sound defense, which is favorable for 630 because all he has to worry about is scoring. Like with Chalk's team, the issue was like Chalk could go out there and score and literally almost lose game. You know what I mean? Chalk could have a good
Yeah,
game.
they couldn't get stops.
They couldn't get stopped. So it's like, like if Chalk doesn't score, this team's losing games. So it's the pressures. Like it's definitely different situations for both teams. I wouldn't say their teams are far off. Like when it comes to these two teams. So again, using surrounding cast. I mean, if that's the case, like when it comes to Splash, Splash has Rhea. He has, his team that's a good team. You know what I mean? Rhea is a really good player. Beezus has had a solid year at power forward, in my opinion. Their shooting guard position has kind of been a little bit wishy-washy. And then, lockdown wise, I mean, compete. You know what I mean? So I would say the Splash, Kai has the number one. Kai has the best. I would say has the best surrounding cast. Then I would say
Dave Fry for sure.
Dave Fry. Probably has the next best surrounding cast. Arguably, maybe better than the T-Wolves. Who knows?
Yeah, like, out there, Wizards surrounding cast wise, I'll put Wizards above T-Wolves. Just slightly, because I think Awkward's better than Saint.
Oh yeah, true.
Better than Miles.
I think they have more like depth, or not. I don't know if the word's depth. It's just more. They're more well-rounded. I think as a team compared to like this team. I think that they're very top-heavy in their backcourt, but then like when it comes to small forward and power forward. I think that the Wizards are a lot stronger. So I would say I would agree with you. I would say Wizards, T-Wolves. Then I'd probably say the Jazz, and then I feel like the Nets and the Pacers are pretty even when it comes to like their teams. Like I don't think they're far off. I would say that
I would you gotta put Nets above Pacers.
I would say you can put them.
Scott's had the best career. He had the best season of his career, and his like. Was he averaging like 6 more points than Jomar? Like maybe a couple? No, the same amount of boards.
Yeah. So, but again, I think that outside of the centerpiece, I think that a lot of their players aren't far off. Like I think the gap is the biggest issue is the defense. Like their defense is way worse than the Pacers. The Pacers are top. The Pacers are a top 3 defense. You know what I mean? And that comes down to like just having Wolf and Jomar playing good pick and roll. That's a big difference. That's the difference between wins and losses for them. So like. That's kind of where it sucks for Chalk because it's like you can only control so much on offense, but at the same time it is a team game. It's not like it's all the defense's fault and not Chalk's fault in some instances, like situations. But anyway, overall, I need to ask you, Ye, when you look at these numbers, you break down these players, who is Ye Not Gaming's MVP this season?
Just based off the crazy year he's had, I'm going with the pick I think they're actually going to go with instead of the one I would like to win. I think the pick that they're going to reward is Kai. I think Kai is going to end up winning it. And then they'll just let 630 get Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. I think I would love 630 to get MVP, but I think they're going to award Kai.
Mm-hmm. I think that Kai, like, as much as I want to see, it'd be cool to see a rookie/MVP. I just think that when it comes down to it, Kai is doing, like, he's playing the shooting guard position. And he's had one of the most efficient. He's having such an efficient year. No one shot this well from 3. He's having such an efficient year. He's number 1 in steals. he's even his assists per game aren't far off from 630 either. You look at that,
Yeah, it's
like
crazy. 6.5 assists a game at shooting guard is crazy. And
exactly.
his first
So
steals, yeah. He's on
yeah,
both sides of the ball with it, so I think they're
yeah.
gonna work. I think they
Yeah,
should.
I just think that his game is just more well-rounded. I think it's going to be close. And then one person we really haven't talked about much is Splashy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think as much as I want to put Dave Fry in the race, you're a center. It's hard. Like, you could have a great year at center, and it's just not going to get appreciated enough. Just because like Dave Fry's been very efficient as a center. Like his field goal percentage, he's second in field goal percentage at center. He's just been really good, when it comes to just being efficient overall as a player. And there's a lot of things that don't get seen on the numbers that you have to watch in games. He's had such a good year. And it's just that centers, it's I don't know if we'll ever see a center MVP until the game has favored centers like it was in season 1. Like, it's a guard heavy game. So it's really tough, man. But
It's true.
but if I was to go, I am between, like I said, I am between 630 and Kai. I think that Splashy has had a good year. The only thing that I'm concerned with 630 is, like, yes, I know he chucks a lot of shots, but that 3-point percentage is a huge gap between 630 and Kai. Like,
Yeah.
like 46% versus 63, that's almost a 20 difference, like in like 3-point percentage. And I know that 630's probably shot a lot more shots. I get that, and that's fair. But the efficiency is there's a big gap between their efficiencies. Like I think that Kai's just been more efficient, and he's shown to be a good defensive anchor too. So, and number 1 seed, you know what I mean? Think about it. They also, and this is another thing, they actually went head to head with each other too. We have to remember the T-Wolves and Pacers did play each other. So, and I'm pretty sure they 2-0'd them. I actually want to pull up the stats of that exact game. Because they did have
30 was box that series the first time.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, and we sit here and like, okay, we get down to the nitty gritty in these games. Let me pull up those stats because I want to see what 630's exact numbers were during that game. But as I'm pulling that up, yeah, I mean, you guys need to talk about Chalk's assist though. Nobody is close to him. Yes, I will say. Chalk has proven, I will say with Chalk's numbers, as I'm pulling this up, Chalk is number 1 in assists in the entire 2K League. His assist to turnover ratio, it's 10th at point guard. So that's the one thing, like, he's that's the most assists that I think anyone's ever had. He's taken the assist title back-to-back years, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. And he broke, and again, maybe, he did just break the record. Obviously we'll say that, he was fouling. But teams were going to hold the ball anyway to stop him from getting the record. So it's a two-way street. You know what I mean? Like the Bucks, they're just going to hold their possessions to make sure he doesn't break the record. The only way you can break records in this league sometimes is doing that because teams are going to do anything in their power to stop you. So so it's not really like it's not fair to go at the Chalk and be like, oh well, they were fouling, but they had to because the team wasn't. They were literally going to run out the clock so he wouldn't get the record. So 630 when he played the T-Wolves. Which T-Wolves aren't even known as being a great defense. Let's remember that. The Pacers are a top 3 defense. The T-Wolves aren't really a good defense. So when we look at that game, 630 shot 8 for 19. That's not good. He had 3 turnovers. I mean, he was 23 and 15. I mean, he put up solid numbers. Kai had 34 and 10. You know what I mean? 34 and 10. 13 for 17, 8 for 11 from 3. Wow, that's just one of the games. That's really good. I mean, again, and it's not. I'm not gonna say it's all about just that one head-to-head matchup. It's one series where they just got caught. And then the other game they played. Oh wait, I just clicked the same game. Shit. Yeah, like I said, but in that matchup, I mean, I just think that the T-Wolves proved why they're the number 1 seed in that conference. Because you think about it, that series actually decided who got the number 1 seed, if you think about it. Because if T-Wolves lose that series, get 2-0'd, then the Pacers are the number 1 seed in the West. So that series, that's essentially the series that put them in the number 1 seed. But again, both games, Kai just played really well. 630, just 8 for 15, 7 turnovers. He was struggling against a team that wasn't known for good defense. If you look at the stats, Chalk got the best stats. What do you mean by that? Like, that's not very specific. That's just saying, like, Chalk has the best stats. Because Chalk is second in scoring, He is
First assist.
first in assists, so that's really good. You know what I mean? That's definitely arguably really good. You know what I mean? Like, I think the biggest thing that kills him is the fact that he is like, and I know it's not all his fault. He's 16 and 12. He's got the highest turnovers in the entire league. He has but that's because he's passing the ball the most. But he has the most turnovers in the league. His field goal percentage is one of the lowest out of everybody on here right now. Like obviously 630 is lower, and his 3-point percentage is one. It's in the middle, and he's solid with efficiency wise. But Kai, I feel like Kai has all those boxes checked. He's got you on the defense. He's 10th in scoring at shooting guard. Remember, he's at shooting guard and he's 10th in scoring right now.
And his ball usage is like number 25 in the league or something.
Yeah, he doesn't have the ball as much as some of these players, and he's still putting up great numbers. He's got 6.35 assists per game. That is 3 away from Kai. That's like 3 or 4 away from both Splashy and 630. Obviously, Chalk has that category with assists per game. But again, I think that, you can argue Chalk with the second in scoring and first in assists per game. That's definitely a good argument there. I won't lie. I just think that when it comes to his efficiency scoring wise, his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage need to be higher for what it's worth. I think that he needs to have a higher in that category, in my opinion, because that's where I kind of I feel like that's where I get a little pushed off, because that's where I get pushed off with 630. 630, yeah, he has high stats, but his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage pull him down. But you look at Kai has got a 68% field goal percentage and a 63.93, the best in the entire league at guard. I don't know, that's just tough for me. I have to go with Kai for MVP, man.
Yeah, damn, I got to.
I just think that he is the clear favorite. Reading the chat real quick. Imagine saying if he was an amazing shooting game to win. And then his assist record as well. Yeah, he's got the assist record. If you look at the stats, Chalk at the best, just playing the game in front of me, gotta go by turnover percentage. So, are you saying assist to turnover ratio? Because the thing is, assist to turnover ratio really tells you the truth about passing. Because yeah, you can get that 14 assists per game, but if you're turning over the ball too much, then you're not making always the best passes. It's almost like you're forcing passes. So, like I said, he's 10th in assist to turnover ratio. When it comes to the point guard position, I don't know. Kai is 3.52, but obviously he's at a different position, so he's not passing the ball as much too. But either way, Splash, he's got the third best assist to turnover ratio. It's a 4 difference with assists. I think Chalk's game is just not efficient enough. His turnovers are a little high for my liking, but again, he does have a lot of assists, so that's why. And his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage are just a little low for me, compared to the other players.
I think stat wise, it's fine. It's more of wins and the amount of wins, and then the stat the folks you got around him.
Yeah, Matt, I'll fix the turnover rankings, Matt. Because so basically, when I say first is that he has the most turnovers per game. So when I have it say first, that means that he has the most turnovers per game in the entire league. When it comes to Splashy, he's 20th in the league in turnovers per game. So I have to switch it to the other way. So I'd have to go by all the point guards and put Chalk as last. And I know what you're saying. The reason I did it like this is because I did a 14 game minimum, so I would it would be a weird number. I'd have to put 31st or 22nd or something like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, like I said, I think we can. We're both agreeing on Kai. But I wouldn't be upset if any of these other players. I think all these players are deserving. And obviously the voting process. What are your thoughts on the voting process though for MVP? Yay, because it comes down to I think that there's a percentage that is the fans, they're gonna vote. They're gonna vote on the website. We're not doing the bot wars. We're gonna do it on the website, so Twitter polls aren't crazy. We're gonna do. I think that they're gonna have obviously they have a percentage for players. They're gonna have staff and stuff like that. And I don't know if they'll have media. I don't know how it's gonna work with that. But like, do you feel like the process is good for voting for these awards? Because in the past, we've seen people that we thought shouldn't have won awards win those awards. Like, obviously, everybody talks about VP should have won the Rookie of the Year a couple years ago because he was literally an MVP candidate and he didn't even win Rookie of the Year. So,
Yeah.
like, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the process is good, or do you think that it's not favorable for people like Chalk? Because let's be honest, Chalk is not the most likable person in the league, and these awards shouldn't be about a popularity contest or who's
Right.
liked. It should be about who went out there and balled. You know what I mean? Like, so do you think the process is good?
I guess we'll really kind of just find out how it works out. So I think if Chalk wins, it makes sense. If any of these guys win, it'll make sense. Like for me, I don't really think too much about the process. I think this is probably the closest MVP race we've had up to date. Because like any one of these guys can come down with it. I think the least likely would probably be Day 5, just because he's a center, and it's not really like a center year. But like but then Splash, Kai, Chalk, and 630, if any of them come down with it, it will make sense in my mind. So I guess we'll just see.
Okay. Anyway, there are a couple other awards I want to ask you questions. Who do you think should win Coach of the Year?
Coach of the year? You cut out.
Yeah. Who do you think should win Coach of the Year?
Coach of the year, I think it's going to be a toss up between either Cody or probably Pat. Like between one of those two. I think it probably should go to Cody just because he did really well in the draft. Utilized his players accordingly, and they came down with games. They got a really good defense. Jomar's playing better this season. Will's playing better this season. I drafted the MVP candidate. I think getting Lavish over there was really smart because they got somebody to get on a rookie. Yell at him when he's messing up. So Lavish don't play no games, so they bringing him over there was smart. And I was like, oh. And then with Pat on his end, like not having the championship hangover, just even without Reese, they're picking up right where they left off. 20th best record in the league. I mean, you can debate that too as well. So it's really tough. So, but if I had to pick, I'll go with Cody.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I look at these are the candidates. I think Pat, the fact that he was able to go back to back with being being one of the best teams in the league. But obviously, he did have expansion teams, so he didn't lose any players. So that's kind of like, his argument there. You have West, who with the Hornets, I mean, they're 19-9. I'm not saying that he's going to win it. I'm just saying that he should be one of the candidates.
West is a good one too.
West could be one of the candidates. Nick Gartrell, the fact that they have the number 1 seed right now over there in the West, and because they went from being a 500 team to being the number 1 seed, so you can definitely argue Nick should be one of the candidates. And then you throw Cody. I think that those are your 4 candidates. I think that Cody, though, the only reason I think Cody should win it over everybody is because the fact that they went from being literally one of the worst teams in the league to being the number 2 seed and making playoffs. I think that's a huge and again, this is the way how do you judge Coach of the Year? Because we can't hear how people are coaching players, right? Like we're not seeing on broadcast coaching plays all the time. You know what I mean? The only way we can really judge it is by moves that they're making and just rotations and lineups that they're putting together. Think about it. So he makes the move to get 630, which is huge because everyone was debating, oh, maybe he might go with this guard. Maybe he might go with this guard. No, he pulled the trigger on 630, and then he makes the move to go from putting Rando in the starting lineup to putting Swizzerk back in the lineup, and they become a better team. So there's a lot of little things that might not get seen. I think Cody should win it because I think that they've had the biggest leap when it comes to a team. The T-Wolves, I mean, they had they went from 500 to a good team. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a huge jump compared to what the Pacers did. So I think the fact that they were able to make this much of a turnaround, I like what they have. But you can also argue with Pat that he showing consistency, a guy that maybe we could argue should have won it last year, but the Wizards were a little funky last year. And obviously I think that it was right for how it went last year because it's regular season. These are regular season awards. These aren't because it's easy to say Pat should have won it last year, but they won the title. You say that afterwards, but the fact that Pat should be one of the candidates, I think it should be between Pat, Nick, and Cody. But I think Cody should win it just because of the jump they've taken.
Actually, got to look at Big West too. Like he did change his whole team around. He like
Yeah, but
got rid of Zay,
he
got
made
in, brought in Sig, traded him away.
yeah. I mean, I think that he made a lot of moves, and again, he's in the. I think he's like I said, he should be in the conversation too. But I think that when it comes to them, I mean, I guess yeah. I mean, like I said those four in the conversation. But if I was to choose my coach of the year, I think it should be Cody. I am I'm gonna go with Cody as mine, just because I think that they've made the biggest leap as a team, and that's big. You know what I mean? I don't think the Hornets kind of just like shuffled. They shuffled their cards and they still had a good hand, right? Like again, everyone didn't have the expectations that they did because everyone's like, oh my god, now they're gonna be shit, but these turned out to be fine anyway. So again, that's where you can argue that point. But at the end of the day, like when we look at the numbers, the Pacers are the ones that have had statistically the biggest improvement as an organization. They just found a player that literally is in the MVP conversation as a rookie. So, that is huge. You know what I mean? That hasn't happened since BP. You know what I mean? Like BP was the last rookie I think that has been in the MVP conversation. And obviously you can't really count season 1 because everyone's like rookie. But again, like I said, I would go Cody Parent if it was my vote personally.
That's fair. That's fair.
Who would you vote if you had a vote right now? Who would you vote for Coach of the Year? Yay!
I'll have to give it to Cody. Honestly, changing that team around.
Yeah, that's fair. Most improved. Who do you think should win most improved? Yay!
Most improved has kind of been a tricky one because when I was doing on a ladder, I wasn't counting people who were out of the league last year because otherwise I would have put Slay. Like I have either Bash or Killy. But Killy kind of slowed down towards the end, and then like the other guys I was thinking of like Jomar and May. But May kind of slowed down. And Jomar, his numbers dipped, but he's still having a good year. So you can kind of put him back in that conversation. But if I had to pick, I would say Bash. A lot of people say like Bash had a good year last year. I'm like, yeah, but he went from being like
average,
like middle of the pack. Yeah, he was like a middle of the pack PG last year, and now he was the top 5 point guard for a better part of the year, and they just weren't winning games, or they were splitting series. That's the only reason I would say Bash.
I think that's fair. I know this is gonna sound strange, but my most improved. So it's kind of weird because, like, yes, you could say Bash because Bash went from being average to being a top guard in his position right now, statistically. You could say, I mean, for a while people thought it was going to be Vandy, but the Grizz kind of have jumbled things near the end. Who else Who else did we say?
Like Killy and Jomar.
Killy doesn't have a big enough sample size, in my opinion. I feel like this guy, all right, well, that's not true because he played 21 games, but Killy has definitely had a jump in his game, but he's jumbled around a little, in my opinion. Like, he's been very, he was really good for a little bit with obviously he did his thing with the Pistons. He had the big run with the Heat, and then that they hit a wall. So, it's kind of the most improved award. It's really tough.
It's touchy. It's touchy.
But let's take a moment. Kai was really good early last year, and then he kind of fell off. And now he came in this year, and he's become an MVP candidate.
You're giving him the Giannis most improved?
Yeah, because I'm being real.
Good to really good.
Yeah,
he was. Wasn't he an MVP candidate last year?
No.
Am I tripping? Chat?
No, you're tripping. He was early in the year. He was looked at like that. But
because Gigi didn't have a good record. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm tripping.
He was early on. They were having conversations like that. But you know what? Actually, what about shots?
Yeah, that's what Harris was saying. Harris was saying shots.
I just was thinking.
I'm like, it's tough with shots because he's always been really good. But yes, I would say this is his best season. But to say most improved, I don't know. I don't want to touch that one with shots. I'll leave shots out of it.
Well, Shots has always been an above average player. He's always been really good. Yeah. What about Hot Shot?
Hot Shot, I wouldn't give the Hot Shot. His season 1 was still
Well, I'm saying I'm saying most improved. Most improved is based off of season 3 to season 4. That's what most improved is based off. So like that's how the awards are given. Like
I understand. Yeah.
like you
It's the
can't.
same thing though. Like Hot Shot's always been really good. He's always been elite. And all that changes with the centers is just like the build, like the deal just changes.
What's up,
So like
Harris?
yeah, like
Appreciate
but
that.
like he's always been good every single season. So like the meta this year with centers being on 7-1 and be able to do what they do down low and snag boards was different than how it was last year, where
Yeah.
they couldn't even block a shot because point guards were L2 and doing backwards layups in the paint. It wasn't much you can do. So like it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
So at the center position, when you have an elite center and then from season 3 and then come over and be an elite center this year, it's hard to really look at the numbers and have it correlate with the eye test. Like they were still really good.
Mm-hmm.
And just the numbers just improved a little
Yeah.
bit. So I wouldn't give the Hot Shot a shots.
Yeah.
Harris would say otherwise, but that's just me.
I just think that it's hard to give Slay most improved because like the most improved award is normally something that you give like from like one season to the next. You don't like go 2 seasons back because that's what Slay's
True.
like.
Like if you look at NBA or any other sport that has a most improved award, like people only usually win it once. It usually goes from a person who goes into being like average or like middle of the pack to being really good, and that's it. It's never like it's on when Giannis got the one time. Other than him, I think that was an anomaly. I think he had a good year and then had a great year.
Yeah.
Like other than him, like no one ever gets it from being like an all-star and then just have a better year the next year.
So it's likely got to be a role player though. You know what I mean? Like like that's really what it comes down to because like there's not really any point guards. It's hard to give it to a point guard because I mean there's a lot of point guards that definitely have gone backwards this year. I will say that. You know, I will say. I mean, it's fair to.
What about Jin? What about Jin from the Mavs?
No, I think all he got was just a higher usage rate. That's why he was able to put up better numbers. And they did. It's not like they got better. It's not like they were winning. You know what I mean? Like because he's in a. It's different if you're a role player with winning compared to a star level position. He was at the guard positions. You know what I mean? So like his impact. Teams win like
you're right.
Like if you're at a guard position, you're more impactful of wins losses. If you're at like a power forward position, you're not able to like impact the game as much whether or not you win or lose. So it's like Jin, he's a huge impact on whether they win or lose the game. So I would not say most improved with him. I definitely think it's fair with Killy just because Killy literally like. But the thing is, I feel like Killy didn't even play last year the way it was because the guy was at so many positions. He didn't get to play his natural position as like a guard. Like Killy was literally playing center for a little bit. This guy's playing like.
I think Killy's a bailout pick if they're giving the award out. Like if you want to play it safe, just give it to Killy.
Yeah, I think it's fair for Killy.
And he went undrafted.
Yeah, so I mean, I would definitely say that's fair. That's fair in an argument. I would say Killy, just because I think that with him, it's just that he literally played, but he didn't play last year. It was weird. Like it was like. The guy played so many positions that he didn't have real stats. You know what I mean? So it's like the two comparisons are, you know, it's kind of just a net.
They drafted like three PGs over there.
Yeah. So Julius Randle basically just did that too. He averaged 20 before this year.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He went from being really good to an all-star. So
yeah. So
that's like the Bash approach for me. Like he went from being good to being like.
Mm-hmm. So really? I wouldn't be mad. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if Bash did it, but the problem is Bash just missed playoffs. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like didn't he made playoffs last year, and now he's missing playoffs. So that's something we have to account for. So like, yes, he's like his stats improved, but his record didn't get better. The guy.
Do you give it to B Rich?
Do I give it to B Rich? No.
He just didn't play last year, so he just don't give it to him.
He didn't play. You know what I mean? It's not like he had like an improvement. Like he just like got to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, it's tough. It depends on how to look at it.
Yeah, I'd probably say Killy. I don't think Bash, just because the guy literally didn't make the playoffs. Like, and he's in the start. Like, he went from being a playoff player, like an average player that made playoffs, to now he got that position as a star on this team, and he didn't make playoffs. You know what I mean? He's in the ticket. So I would say that Killy's probably my candidate. Again, if Slay would have, because Slay had a really bad year in season 2. If it would have been like back-to-back seasons, and again, I don't know if that's how they would do most improved, but like it's tough because that's 2 seasons ago, and that's a totally different game. You know what I mean? Compared to where we're at now, like So it's kind of tough for Steven because again, I agree. Steven's had a really good year compared to what he did back in season 2. That's fair to say, but that's so far back. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think that it should go to Killy if anything. Shots has always been good. It's just that he got I think that like in the past, Shots has never truly gotten to like consistently stay in the center position. He's always flip flop from power forward to center for a lot of years. Like think about it. He went back in like the season, like season 1, he had to play power forward all year. You know what I mean? Because you had Walnut, and then in season 2 he was on a fucking shit Hawks team. So that's a wash. Season 3 he kind of altered back and forth at power forward and center because of Yusuf. So it was like it's one of those things like and like Yusuf obviously would take away his numbers. But this year, he doesn't really have to worry about that. He just sticks at center. And yeah, he had a great year at center. So, I mean, I would say that he's improved, but I don't know if necessarily if it's the biggest improvement. So, I'd give it to Killy. Just because Killy literally played every position last year. And he just didn't, like, he went undrafted. The guy didn't even get to get drafted because how bad it was, like, the way people looked at it. So, I mean, yeah, I think Killy should be in that conversation for most improved.
That's fair.
What's another award that I'm forgetting? Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive player.
Also
a tough one.
No one's talking about it. So I have the analytics. Shout out to 2K Labs again. I can tell it's got to go to a lockdown. I don't think it's going to go to a center. Just because this was a hard year to stop PGs, and if you were able to have high steals per game, and you were able to just stop the point guard, that's big. So I'll tell you the analytics real quick, just so you know. Number 1 defense, the number 1 team. All right, so the Wizards only allowed 20.9 points per game to point guards, which is number 1 in the league. So awkward obviously it's not all awkward. It's team defense. Don't get me wrong, but this is the best statistic we have to kind of judge how many points per game that point guards are getting. So Awkward has been Awkward has had a great year. But Awkward's also he's a very two-way player. He's not just a defensive player. He's a very good two-way player, which doesn't matter in Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm just saying, Randoms is right there with 21.6 points per game. Then it goes Wolf, then it goes Gradient, and then it goes Trap. That's pretty much players that have from the eye test have played very well. If we're being honest, like if we're going off of eye test, players that have been playing very well in the lockdown position. And the people that rank the highest in steals per game right now in the league at small forward, Shifty's number 1, Trap is 2, Crush is 3, Cook's up there. Where is Awkward? Awkward's he's 8. He's 8th. So he's 8th. You know what I mean? He's 8th in steals per game. I mean, he's allowing the least amount of points per game at the position. It's probably Awk.
Yeah, I think Trap should get a little more love too.
Brett. I mean, I think Brett's all defensive team, but you have to remember who has the bigger role on defense: the power forward or the lockdown. The lockdown's literally guarding the fucking he's literally has to he can be put on an island sometimes. You know what I mean with the point guard. So I would say that Brett's all defensive team, but I don't know necessarily about Defensive Player of the Year. It's tough for a power forward to win it. It's just like MVP this year. Centers, some centers had good years, but it's damn near hard for them to win that award over point guards. So Slaughter, Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Slaughter you guys had a bad defense though overall though. I feel like your defense was I feel like the freaking T-Wolves defense was just all right. Let's just try to outscore the other team. You guys had a solid defense. That's how I look at the T-Wolves. But like I said, anyway. I would say that I really do think it's Awkward who wins Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion. Just because he's he's seventh at steals per game, which is the big thing there. He allows the least amount of points for his matchup in the entire league. It's just I feel like that's the best option. I mean, I want to go look at Brett's stats. I know Brett has had a really good defensive year. I just think that he's an all defensive player year, all defensive team player. He's not the guy. You know what I mean? I don't think he's the Defensive Player of the Year. Is that all the awards? I think that's all the awards.
I think we covered it.
Yeah, because I don't know how
Rookie of
to.
the year. We'll shut that
That's
down real
6:30.
quick.
That's 6:30. We like. Let's be honest. Like Dre is not there at 6:30.
I would say I would have Rigby right behind 6:30, but I mean it's still a big gap.
It's so yeah. The gap is so big there. It's not even like Rigby averages 21 points per game. Like that's I don't know. He's not
It's
even
really
like
good for a two guard.
that's good for a two guard.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes
And
to
you got turn MVP
hmm
too as well.
yeah
Playoff team.
yeah he's third in points per game at his position. I just don't see. But I don't think he doesn't have enough. Like a 630 is an MVP candidate. Rigby's
Yeah,
not.
of course.
So it's like again. I just think that like Rigby, unfortunately, he just.
If we're looking at the rookie team, I'm saying like I'll put Ricky Dre.
Oh yeah. Rick, we're all rookie team. Rigby would be the shooter.
Has he crazy?
No, Crazy's had a very bad year actually.
Who you put there? Crown?
At small forward or power forward?
Oh, like, I'm talking about the rookie team, so it'd probably be like Dre, Rigby, 630,
No,
Hezzy.
not Dre. It'd be 630. It'd be Rigby, and then small forward would be.
They don't do small forwards. They just do like the top 5 people, and then they put 2 front court, 3 back court usually, and then they might throw a lock in there sometimes.
What about Tezo? Tezo's had a pretty.
Tezo? Did Tezo had a better year than Rigby or Dre?
I'm saying, but he's a locked. I just think that it's fair. Like it's so like. I feel like it's.
I mean,
fair. Like
it's fair when the lock is really, really good. Like Crush was really good.
Yeah, that's true.
Awkward was really good. So like they were put on those lists. Like at lockdown, no lockdown. Like if Tato is having a year that like Trap was having or Gradient's having, then yeah, I'll put him there. But
yeah, true.
I'm saying those 3 and then the back. I'll probably
Crown's got to be on the all rookie team though for what he's
yeah.
doing. Chaos doesn't get enough love for what he's been doing though. But he's been very efficient for the
that Celtics team. But they cleaned up a little bit. They're gonna be good.
Yeah, but other than that, like I mean, for the most part, all rookie teams pretty easy to put together.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, let's move on to the All-Star game real quick. Let's get to that real quick. So I already have a graphic made with kind of like the people I think that should be on the All-Star team. So like I don't have the reserves yet for the other team, but this was kind of like my All-Star teams I was putting together on the stream a couple days ago. Jack, I think, is still. I know everyone's going to be like, "What, Jack?" But Jack is still his assist to turnover ratio has been very good. He's not turning over the ball. He has the #1 seed in the entire league. Like he's. I think it's fair to say that guy should be the starting point guard. But again, this is where you're like, wait, Chalk was the. Is an
I was like, why wouldn't you put Chalk at #1? Like Chalk's going to get the votes because it's Chalk.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a better season as the MVP candidate. Like I would put Chalk at the starting point guard.
This was actually, I think I did this 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. Rigby, obviously, I think Rigby's been one of the best shooting guards. So he's definitely going to be the starting in the East for shooting guard, in my opinion. You could say Beast Move, but Beast.
I can argue Beast Move or Malik.
No, not Malik. Actually, believe it or not, Malik's like numbers are not that like impressive for what it's like. All right, he's definitely a top 3 or top 5 shooting guard. But when it comes to Rigby's had like one of the best shooting guard years this year. Like analytically, like I remember running through the numbers. Like Rigby's had one of the best years.
I'm not mad at the Rigby pick though.
Awkward. Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's our defensive player of the year. Power forward. So Nudini. Once he got, this is where I got. Like you think about power forwards in the East. All right. Crown has had a great year. Crown's been a top 5, top 3 power forward this year.
Mm-hmm.
Nudini. I mean, again, he switches his position and the team completely changes. So
I'm not mad at Crown putting Crown there.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's fair to put Crown there. Dave Fry, obviously, just because the guy's had a great year. Again, I have Chalk on the reserves. You can put him in the starting lineup if you want. Beast Move as a backup behind Rigby is not wrong. And this is where I get Trap has been really good, but I guess I could say Trap. I'm trying to think who else in the East could be a choice at lock, like as a backup block.
I think Trap is probably your best go
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
especially in the East.
yeah. Then I have Nudini, and then I have Shots as a backup. So I think my East is really good. I think that I think I nailed the East in a way. You can obviously switch Jack. Like some people might be like not Jack just because statistically, like he didn't have like one of the craziest years at point guard. I guess.
Yeah. What about Sherm?
But he Sherm's in that
I think he
same.
had a decent year, right? That's such a quiet bunch over there. I think he averaged what 25 and 10 or something like that. He had a
So
good good year.
so at point guard, hang on, I'll tell you right now. Because like I said, now that all the stats are done, um, so at point guard, God, it's weird because you got guys like Fab who had like 32 and but this is all about records too. You got to yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Sure.
like
I mean, the Hornets have a good record though. They're like third
yeah,
in the East or some shit.
yeah.
Or second.
So yeah, but I'm looking at it right now. Um, I'm just gonna compare JBM and Sherm. JBM had 25 points per game, basically. Um, number one seed, obviously. You could argue, honestly, Radiant might be. Oh wait, no, is that West?
West,
Yeah,
yeah, Raiders West.
damn. The West has had so many. No, Sherm is like one of the bottom PGs in the league for points per game,
Where's
like
he at?
21.02. He's
Okay.
so like he's not even averaging a double double. Jack is. Jack is averaging like 25 and 10. Sherm is like 21 and 9.9. So he's close to the double double. So I guess you could say it's not far off. Assist to turnover ratio. Jack has one of the best in the entire league. Like when it comes to assist to turnover ratio,
Mm.
Jack is actually number one in assist to turnover ratio in the entire league. Um,
Okay.
also, Jack is number one in steals at point guard. Um, field goal percentage wise, so actually 3 point percentage wise, Sherm is one of the
And
best.
what about is Vandy in the East?
Yeah,
I think Vandy's in the East.
Vanny didn't have
He
like
had a really good start, so I don't know how he
yeah.
tapped out at the end. He kind of fumbled at the end.
He kind of like again like he was really good
That
early.
defense kept them alive, bro. And
Yeah,
that boy Chess was hooping,
yeah.
and Chess started hooping, and like that's pretty much what kept them alive offensively. But I mean, yeah, Vandy had a big start to the year where he was like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, Jack is like top in a lot of categories. It's not getting talked about. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Jack is actually pretty much top in a lot of categories. He should be the star for like again. This is the East. You know, the East is. I still think the West is better than the East. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I think that whole conversation of the East being stronger is
no, the West is better.
yeah.
I think so.
There's a lot more depth, but I think that it's fair for Jack to be the starting point guard. Then when it comes to the West, this is where it gets hard. You know what I mean? Like Splashy, I think should be the point guard.
Would you if you're going off record, are you taking consideration
Yeah.
Chess and over Beast Move? You know, Beast Move is pretty much that entire offense, but for the better part of the year.
Beast Move had a bigger impact. Chess actually had a really bad year. Like,
Did he really?
yeah, his numbers were really bad. I don't know why everyone's like. I remember when I was doing this and everyone was talking about Chess.
He just been maybe it's just recency bias. Like
I think it's recency bias because let me do it because I remember when I was doing this entire thing. All right, so I'll tell you. So field goal percentage wise, because this is what really matters at the shooting guard: field goal and 3-point, really. So Chess is the bottom 5. He's one of the worst in the entire league. He's bottom. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's a bottom 7. He's bottom 7 in field goal percentage. He's shooting 50%. 3-point wise, he is. God, he's so far down. He's not even like top. Like I said, he's bottom. He's the fourth worst shooting 3-pointer. Like he's almost as bad as Simo when it comes to 3-point percentage. He's worse than Reese Mode, Kel, Antoine, A-Rook, Snubby. Like he's one of the worst shooters in the entire league. Chess.
yeah.
So I don't know where everyone got this idea. I don't know if it was just an eye test thing or something, but he's been really bad. Like his numbers are really bad. I don't know. Maybe he just hit some big shots. I don't know. But his numbers have been really bad. I wouldn't even consider him as like an all-star. Now the conversation is, who do you start in an all-star team? Do you start 630 or do you start Splashy?
I feel like they're going to start all three of them. One of them just going to have to play the three.
But Kai, you got Kai, but you got
Yeah,
Kai, you got
they were just going
Splashy,
on scoring deal.
you got Crush.
Kylie, he's leader in steals. He's probably going to line up at the lock.
You got
I
Crush
don't
over
know.
here. You got Gradient, who's had a pretty good. Gradient's had a really good year. No one's talking
Yeah, I'll
about
probably throw Gradient over Crush. Even though I think Crush is a better player, but
it.
I'll probably throw Gradient in there.
Yeah,
But
Bread is power forward. I think Bread's undoubtedly the power forward. Just that
yeah,
he's had one of the best defensive years. He's all defensive team, in my opinion. Center wise, over in the West is a little rough. So I put Slaughter here because I think that when I went to go run it down, you got, I guess you could say, so when it comes
authentic.
to,
Oh, he's an East. Never mind.
so yeah, and this is where I run into this dynamic. You got Rama, who had a okay year, like a solid year. You
How did
had
Rhea? How did Rhea play?
Rhea averaged 15 points per game, which is not like it's pretty far down. It's about the same as Slaughter. Rebounds per game, Slaughter is exactly one difference between Rhea. Their turnovers per game are the same. Slaughter has one of the best assist to turnover ratios at center. It's 4.08, which is really good. He's number one in assists per game. So Slaughter's one of the best passing centers this year in the league. Steals per game, Slaughter's number one. Blocks per game, Slaughter's three. Slaughter's just top in a lot of stats.
What about Hezzy? He had a decent year, right?
Hezzy, I can tell you all his numbers. Yeah, and field goal percentage wise, I mean Slaughter's pretty far down. Hezzy wise, hang on, I'll tell you. Let me got it. It's always gets stuck on this thing. I'll tell you in a second. Hezzy had a pretty good. I could say Hezzy could be a backup. I don't know about a starter.
Yeah, I wouldn't start him. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, but Slaughter should be an all-star. That's all I'm going to say. Like, that's one thing that maybe, like, he's on the number one team, which is big for, obviously for a center, because you are a big part of the winning, like, at center. So, points per game, Hezzy is fourth, which is good. He's, rebounds per game, Hezzy is, holy crap, he's really far down.
I think he only averaged like 9 or something like that.
Yeah, he's literally the second, he's the second worst rebounder.
Damn.
This is 14 game minimum, by the way. So 50% of their games at center. So, but either way, that's still bad. Like he's one of the worst.
He's a lockdown, so
yeah. Assists per game, he's nowhere to be found. I'm not gonna scroll down for him on that. Turnovers per game, damn, Crazy's the worst at center for turnovers. Crazy. That's why I said Crazy. I don't think deserves to be on any All-Star teams or anything. Like any.
I won't put him on All-Star. How about say your rookie second team?
I don't even think he gets on. Well, maybe rookie second team. I don't even think he gets a starting rookie.
I don't think they have that actually.
I know it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Assists to turnover ratio, Hezzy's nowhere to be found. Steals per game, Hezzy's top 10. I think he's at like 7th. Blocks per game, Hezzy's top 7. He's 7th. And then field goal percentage, Hezzy is really far down.
Yeah. Only other person I can think of is Hezzy, maybe Jomar.
I think. Well, I think that if it was to be the starter, it's Slaughter, and then I think the other one, I guess you could say Jomar. I guess you could say. It's kind of tough. Yeah, Jomar. I would say Jomar. That's fair. You can put Jomar as a backup. I think he's probably the best. He's probably your best bet for backup. To be honest with you.
And then power forward, will you throw Beezus?
Well, it sucks because Spartan had a good year, and he's not gonna.
Spartans in the East.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sucks for him. I said Bread was one of the starters. So the big thing at power forward would probably be. I mean, Bees is probably. Lavish didn't have a bad year either.
Chaos had a decent year too, though.
Yeah, Chaos actually did really good. Chaos was really efficient, you're right. Field goal wise. Oh, wait, let me do 14 game minimum. Shit. I keep doing this. Field goal wise.
I'm about to take a leak real quick.
Oh, go ahead, you're fine. So, yeah, so Chaos was number 4, and yeah. So overall, I would probably say Chaos. Only 7 people make it, I think, and it doesn't have to be by position. No Rhea. I'd put Rhea. I mean, I'm saying that like, but again, this is like you are right. Only 7 people make it. I'm just doing like reserve. Like mine's a little different. Like it would be 7 people, so it would probably be like the starting lineup I have right now, and then probably 630 and Gradient maybe, or another guard. It'd probably be an extra guard. It wouldn't be Screddy. It wouldn't be Gradient probably. Over here, Chalk would be on the All-Star team, and I think that maybe Chalk and Shots are like the backups on the All-Star team. That's how I would look at it. I feel like that's fair. Yeah, so I think that those two. I think that that's how it would be. What's interesting? If these were the All-Star teams starting lineups right now, if these were the starting lineups, who's taking the All-Star game? If you guys were to say it, I'm gonna do a poll in the chat real quick. So if these were the starting lineups,
all right, I'm back.
So I'm gonna ask you this question, and I'm gonna do the chat too. If these were the 2 starting lineups for the All-Star game, who's taking the All-Star game?
Starting lineups. You guys in the chat?
I'm gonna ask the chat, but win the All-Star game. Who do you think would win?
Looking at these lineups, I would have to go with the West. Splash and Kai backcourt looks nuts.
I'm gonna run the poll for about 2 minutes, see who they say. Chat right now, which side would win the All-Star game based on these lineups, East or West? I already got votes going to the West. Wow, a lot of Western votes are going. I mean, I think it's fair. I think that the West is very strong. I think they're really like. I think that backcourt is just a lot stronger. For the what do you call it, the West. I like their backcourt more.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy though. The East, like how like the Wizards are like literally like everyone just looks at the Wizards like basically running through their entire conference. But
that's true. They got the whole team up there.
Yeah, but I think that the West is just so strong. Like when it comes to just players that stick out to me on that side.
It changes slightly if you throw Chalk in that starting lineup, though.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know.
You gotta put Chalk in that starting lineup.
Okay, you put Chalk in the starting lineup. I mean, defensively, all right, I like Awkward. I like Bread over Crown. Slaughter, I mean, Dave Fry Dave Fry actually showed in the finals last year over Slaughter, so, you think the East is gonna win, Chris? Interesting. But
if you're going based off, if you're looking at it on paper, I think the West just looks a little better just because that backcourt is going to give you probably 50-60.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like 50-60, pretty easy. I think they'll get the 60 combined, and then Slaughter, he's decent at scoring down low too as well. But if you're looking on a more defensive side, I mean maybe the East has a bit of an advantage in a sense, Awkward and Dave Fry, but shit, like West got Breadwinner and Crush. So and then Kai is number 1 in steals. So I was like, I don't know. Like all roads lead the West in my opinion.
That's fair. Anyway, I think we're gonna move on to the last 2. Basically, like we're gonna talk about playoffs and ticket preview, but we're gonna start out with talking about the ticket. So I already sent you the screenshots obviously in the Discord, so you know where they are. Right now I'm pulling up both of them right now on the broadcast. So what we're going to do is we'll start with the East and then we'll transition into the West. So the ticket is, it should be best of 3 if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be best of 3, Bucks versus Lakers. Great matchup to start off the tournament. I think everyone's excited. Everyone's ready to watch that game. But let's be honest, Bucks are winning that shit. I don't think the Lakers are going to I don't know if the Bucks lose that, I don't know what to say. But yeah, Bucks or Lakers, who you got?
I'm going with the Bucks. I think Red's not watching it.
I don't think anyone's gonna watch that game. Blazers and Bucks. Who you got?
I think the Blazers for sure.
hmm I mean, if the Blazers lose to the Bucks, they might as well just blow up the entire team. The entire. I mean,
Blow it up again.
I mean, there's a lot of there's interesting, Goofy getting benched, a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why they did that.
There's a lot of internal problems.
Yeah,
From what it looks
gotta
like.
be.
Cavs versus Mavs. I don't think the Mavs have it. I don't know what the fuck's going on the Mavs. I'm going Cavs all the way. I don't think anyone is really gonna say the Mavs. But we're gonna have Cavs Blazers. Now we know how the Cavs can be. They play up to their competition. Is this the time when Fab comes out? Is this Fab's calling out party? Like, is he gonna finally come out and just fucking hoop and win the whole thing, and go to the playoffs?
I think the Blazers are a little bit more sound defensively that they'll be able to. I won't say because I think Fab is going to get his, but for everybody else, I think the Blazers are going to make it a little tough on them. So I'm going to give the edge to the Blazers, but it's only because I don't know what Cavs team is going to show up.
So now we got Blazers versus Kings. Now this is the narrative that everybody is just like, oh man, you couldn't write the books. You couldn't write it better yourself. You couldn't write it better. Obviously the Knicks love making stories in the ticket, but this is a story right here. You have Mama versus old Blazers team for the ticket championship. It's almost like it was destiny. This was meant to happen. And there's actually I have to find it. There's an old clip of Bash saying that his team's going to make playoffs and the Kings won't. So this is like, I have to go dig that up. I know it's somewhere. I remember hearing that too. Someone said that to me and I remember hearing that. So this is interesting. So this will be the first time that either Mama misses playoffs or the Blazer 5 organization misses playoffs. So one of those two things will happen this year. And it's going to be all decided in the ticket. Who you got? Kings or Blazers?
I gotta go with the Blazers, man. Just because the Kings keeps, they're switching out Yusuf and Majestic at the 4 and 5. And I really don't know how good Mama's going to be. And then Seam's kind of been suffering at the 2. As it's too much uncertainty at the Kings, and they kind of fumbled the last couple weeks. They were like 13-7 at one point, right? They were like 11-7, where they were looking pretty good at one point, and then they started splitting and losing series, and it kind of came back to them from behind. And now the Blazers, they've just been splitting series all year. Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of going into this matchup, I think Blazers is the team that looks a little better on paper, so I'm gonna go with them.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Kings. I think that Mama is going to be playing a lot better because he's playing against his former Blazers team. I think that Mama's going to play out of body. I think this game is built for Mama to kind of perform. This is where Mama was last year in the ticket championship, and he won it. You know what I mean? He beat the T-Wolves to go into the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Mama and them Kings. I think that they're just sitting there. They don't have to stress. Yes, that the Blazers. It's not like the Blazers are getting red hot, like beating the Cavs and the Bucks. You're beating two kind of okay teams. You know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously the Bucks suck, so they're not okay. But the Cavs, you're not like, oh my God, we're red hot, we beat the Cavs. No, like you that's what that's the thing about this tournament. It's kind of like you play two series. You're not gonna you'll have warm hands. But I think that I just think the Kings are going to be better prepared, and I think Mama's going to play good. So I'm going Kings on this side. I think the Kings are going to take it. But you go Blazers. I like Kings. The other side, we got... Now, this is an interesting bracket here. Because you got your former team, Knicks Gaming, sitting at the end, just waiting to see who they play, man. Traditional Knicks Gaming, trying to get through the ticket, man. It'd be great. It'd be so ironic, the fact that the Knicks, again, make it to the playoffs through the ticket. It's almost it's like someone's just writing the story for the 2K League right now. Heat versus Raptors. Raptors have been scary, man. I feel bad for the Heat, man, because the Heat have been cold in these last couple of weeks. And the Raptors have just been blazing. So I'm gonna go with the Raptors. I mean, I would love to see the Heat make a run, but they have just, I don't know, man, like. They're MIA. I saw a milk carton, missing. We're trying to find that old Heat Check Gaming team. I don't know, man. They just haven't been the same. So I'm going Raptors here. I think that they've been really good. What do you think?
I'll tell you, yeah. As soon as Don got into the six, they started hooping. So, and then we haven't seen that 7-1 run Heat team that we saw before the turn. So I'm gonna have to go with the Raptors.
Mm. Celtics versus Hawks. Who you got?
Um, I'm gonna have to take the safe bet and take the Celtics on this. I would just because their record is better than I thought they would be. I thought Celtics would kind of be down there like where like the not as bad like the Bucks is, but kind of like where the Cavs are.
Yeah.
But they've been playing better than I thought they would, and it seems like those guys are pretty determined. You know, they're in high spirits over there. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think Boston's a clear favorite in this. I don't think the Hawks. I mean, BP is ready for retirement. I mean, I don't think that this team is like anywhere like I don't think they're mentally ready for this. They're just gonna. It's kind of just like let's go home. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
no one wants to do this anymore. Everyone's they're fed up with the season. You know, they're done. It's Celtics are going to take the series, but then they run into a roadblock with the Magic. I think the Magic are going to smack them in the face, and it's going to be Magic in that. You know, I think the Magic are just going to be advancing whoever they play.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think Magic is going to take that one against the Celtics. Celtics or the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I don't see any way that like the Magic lose to either of those teams. If they do, then the Magic. Oh man, let me tell you what, Magic have been they've been the most average team in 2K League history. That's all I'm going to say. Gen G versus the Raptors, man. Let me tell you now. Now you got Gen G, who you know they've been a weird team, man. They've been a weird team. You know, they have been just out of this world weird. And you got the Raptors, who have just like. You know, they're feeling good, man. You know, they might drop it like, you know, they might be on the next like album with Drake or something. I don't know at this point. You know, they've been going a little crazy up in the six. You know, but who do you got? Raptors or Gen G?
I think Gen Z's been playing kind of weird. They're trying to figure out their lockdown situation for a while. I know they have Bumpy Don there. They took Turn Up out of the lineup. I'm not sure if it was just for the last couple of weeks or it was a permanent situation, but I think they're kind of out of sorts. J Money's playing a little better, but you know I'm gonna have to give the Raptors a win on that one.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I think the Raptors are definitely. I mean it's just so weird. The Raptors, I want to see them go far. So you know, you obviously see the hat. So I'm gonna go with Raptors in this one. I think that you know Gen G. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Gen G. I'm gonna keep it real. I really don't know. I would like to see. I'd like to say that they're the favorites because they're the 7th seed, but the Raptors have just been a scary team. I'm gonna go Raptors as well. Raptors versus Magic now. Who do you got?
Honestly, I'm taking the Raptors again.
I know, man. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh shit! Like I'm
taking the Raptors again.
Now this is. It just feels too crazy though. This is kind of like, whoa. Like, are we really gonna think the Raptors making a run in this tournament? But I mean, it all comes down to the Gen G and Raptors series. So the Gen G can easily, you know, flip the script and kind of take it. But I'm going to go Raptors as well. I think Raptors versus the Knicks. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I know, I know you can't take you can't go against the Knicks, man. I get it, man. They're your guys. You know, this is where you won your championship. You know, this is where Yay Not Gaming was born. You were born on Knicks Gaming, all right? Like, literally, you were like Jerry Ferreira, you know, he was there, you know, he raised you, you know, and now you are Yay Not Gaming.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't forget about Mama Claire. But anyway, who you got? Knicks or Raptors?
Man, you already know the answer to this, man. Got to take the ticket Knicks. Ticket Knicks. The thing about the Knicks, they're starting to figure it out too late. The problem was in the beginning of the year, just couldn't close games. They'll have an 8-point lead and just fumble the last quarter. But they got bet.
What do the Knicks need to do to beat the Raptors, though? Like, what do the Knicks have to do? Raptors versus Knicks. What has to happen?
Honestly, just come on and play the game. The team is pretty good on defense. The defense is better than people make it out to be. And offensively, it's really like Duck has to show up and Malik has to show up, and then those two guys show up, and they're able to especially like keep the game. I won't say keep it interesting, but like when they have those close and they're up a few points, they usually get in the range where they're up 5 or 6 points. If they're able to close out and just do what they came to the ticket to do, just and get that last spot, they're gonna be solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say. I'm gonna go with, man, the Knicks have been good in the last couple of weeks. It's kind of tough. And it's crazy to think. I mean, the Raptors might be coming in red hot, man, though. You win these, you beat the Heat, you beat Genji. These are two tough series. It's not like the East. I mean, like the West or whatever. It's a lot different in this tournament. I think that these are stronger teams. So I'm going to go with the Raptors, man. I know that I'm crazy. I know it's because I'm wearing a Raptors hat. I get it. You know, you have your bias. I got my bias. I'm going Raptors, man. I think that they you know, they're going to come out in this tournament. They're going to, you know, they're going to smack everybody, man. They're going to be like, whoa, Raptors GC, you know, they come in this tournament, they make a run, and they go into playoffs. But let's jump to the last portion of this broadcast, and that's talking about the NBA 2K League playoffs. Now, we have our teams, right? You know, you got Knicks, I got Raptors, whatever in playoffs. Let me just pull up the bracket real quick for the playoffs so I can explain it to you guys. You know, just, you know, what's crazy about the playoffs, you know, whoever wins both these tournaments, they automatically walk away with $30,000. Like, no matter what, if you make playoffs. So all the teams that have made playoffs right now, they are $30,000 richer as a team. Also, the teams that have the buys, they're at $44,000. Like, so there's some teams that have definitely, you know, that's the thing about playoffs. You already make a lot of money getting to playoffs. Let me just find the bracket if I could ever find it. Holy crap. This is why the 2K League needs to pin stuff like this, okay, guys? I'm serious. Like, this should be pinned. This should be the pinned tweet, playoff bracket, or the ticket bracket. I don't know.
Hey, also they got to pin the ticket probably first.
But that's not even pinned either. So we got to work on pinned tweets so I can find things easier. I had the bracket.
Oh, yeah,
wait, I found it. All right, let me pull it up on stream for you guys real quick. Sorry about that. I had to figure out where everything was because it's not always accessible. So here's the bracket. Let me make the screen a little bigger for you guys so you guys can read the bracket on stream. Let's do this. I guess. Okay, that's fine. So I'll read the matchups to you, just so it's easier for you. So we get to playoffs. Again, like I said, everyone makes 30K. If you get past the first round, then you make 40K. You make 40K, and then I think it goes like 80 or something like that, or 60, something like that. But anyway, so we're gonna start in the West. You got Warriors versus Pistons. Who you got?
Warriors versus Pistons. I think I'm going to go with the Pistons. Just because they finally got those guys get back together. I think Greenlight, you know, had to shake the rust off a little bit, but I think it's going to come into his own. Bringing Idris is a big plus. Pexile just got to stay in front of somebody and let.
Oh my God.
Can I stay in front of somebody and not give up 60 points? So
all he's got to do is stay in front of him. Don't let them get 60, and they can win a game.
I'm down with Pistons winning that one.
Hang on.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. I just turned on my TV, and I was like really loud. I gotta agree. I mean, I'm gonna go with. Everyone wants to say Pistons. I think a lot of people might say Pistons. I've seen Keena in the playoffs before. I've seen them in tournaments. I think this team's gonna beat the Pistons. I am gonna go with the Warriors. I know that Fox is probably like, "How could you, champ? I thought we had something," but I just think that I think that Keena is just gonna lock in. He's a smart kid. I mean, he's just gonna. I think Gradient's been having a really good year as well. Hezi obviously has been doing his thing, and Chaos has been very efficient. I just think the biggest weakness for them is their shooting guard position. You know, if they can just key in a little better on shooting guard and play a little better, this team can win this game. I think this is a winnable series. I think that when it comes down to it, you know, Radiant's going to get his. It's really about attacking Pexile, like you said, though. You got to attack Pexal, but I think it's going to have to come from, Kina. Kina is going to be a X factor in the series. Kina's got to play well. If Kina can't play well against Pexal, then they're not winning the series. So, but I'm going to go with Warriors. I think that's just the best team in that series, in my opinion. I don't hate the Pistons. I just think that I think this Warriors team is starting to come together better than people thought. Early on, people were like, holy crap, they looked really bad. But they've really started to piece it together as of late. Jazz, and they played the 6th seed of the West ticket, which we said was the Kings or Blazers. So either team, I think, is losing to the Jazz. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care who comes in from the ticket. I don't see either team beating the Jazz, especially because it's Splash. You know what I mean? Like, Splash is going to ball on either team. So I don't see either team having a chance, personally. Do you have any different thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think the Jazz are going to win with that one. But who they put there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Over in the East, you got Nets versus Sixers. So I think that Chalk is going to come out and he is going to absolutely demolish their defense. I think Shots and Walnut are going to kind of balance each other out. I think that the Dre is just not going to have enough to outscore Chalk, and I think that I talked about this before with some guys. I just think that Shots is gonna. I mean, not Shots. I think Chalk is just gonna run the game. Run away with the game, and they're just gonna outscore the Sixers. The Sixers aren't just gonna. They're not gonna be able to keep up with the pace. I mean, maybe Jeff comes out with some really good game plan, but I doubt that they're gonna be able to win this series. So I'm gonna go Nets 2-1. I think that's going to be I think it's going to go game 3. It could be close, but I could see the Nets really, really killing them in this series. But that defense is really bad, so we never know with the Nets. But I'm going Nets.
Yeah, I would say I'm going Nets too as well, just because the way that the Nets play, they're pretty much just trying to outscore the other team, and then I don't think the Sixers have enough to really contain Shots nor Chalk. So I just got to get the upper hand in the Nets.
Yeah. The next series, Grizz versus the ticket champions, which would be the Knicks or Raptors for us. I think either ticket team beats the Grizz. I know that sounds crazy. If the Knicks come in, I definitely think the Knicks beat the Grizz. I know that people are like, what? Like, what do you the Grizz aren't that bad at the 3 seed, but I just think the Grizz are such, they just don't have it anymore like they used to. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Knicks are really high-powered offense. I think they could beat the hell out of the Grizz, personally. So I'm going to go with whoever comes out of the ticket. I think they're going to beat the Grizz. What do you think?
I'm about to say, I don't think the Grizz will beat the Raptors, but I mean, I don't think the Raptors will beat the Grizz, but I think the Knicks could beat the Grizz in this one. So I would take the Knicks going to the next round to play the Hornets.
So we're in the Final Fours now. So the highest seed would play, let's say you said that you have the Knicks going by them, by the Grizz. Mm-hmm. So the highest seed, it would probably be the Nets versus the Hornets, though. So that's what it would be. Because then the Knicks would have to go up and play the Wizards, because that's how it would go. So it'd be Hornets versus Nets. Who do you got?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't think about that. Hornets versus Nets. I think I would just have to go with the Hornets because they're just better defensively. I think they'll be able to slow the Nets down a bit. They'll bring some of that turn momentum over. And since the turn they've been rocking, so it's kind of hard to vote against the Hornets at this point of the year. So I'm going Hornets.
I think the Hornets are going to beat the hell out of the Nets. The Nets have no defense, and they have all offense, and the Hornets are literally that. I think the Hornets are just going to be that defense that slows Chalk down, and they're just going to kill them. And it's going to be a low-scoring game. Let's be honest. I would say it's going to be like maybe not low-scoring, but like moderate. So maybe it's going to be like a 60 to 60 something game. 60 to 60, somewhere around that range. So maybe 60, 70, something like that. But it's not going to be like a 80-point, 100-point game. It's going to be very slow. So I'm going Hornets all the way. Wizards versus Knicks or Raptors for our view. Wizards are going to just demolish whoever they play. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I don't see that. I don't even think we need to go into that. That team is just dominant. Wizards versus Hornets. Who do you got?
Wizards Hornets. Shit. It's really hard to it's really hard to vote against the Wizards right now. So I'm gonna go with the Wizards just to be safe.
Yeah.
On this one, I think Wizards will get back to the finals stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but the Wizards have lost tournaments. We got to remember that. Like, I think people kind of forget that. Like, it's like they've been a great regular season team, but they haven't like won a tournament. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that we have to consider the fact that this is upset. There is potentials for upset. So I do agree that the Wizards are just a dominant team in the East. So I just think that the gap, if the Wizards were a West team, it'd be a different story. All the teams on the left are scary. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that any of those teams in the West are a lot scarier than any teams in the East. But I'm going Wizards too. I think Wizards are in the finals. We jump over to the East. I'm in the West. So the highest seed would play the Pacers, which would be the Jazz. So Jazz versus Pacers. Who do you got?
I'm actually gonna go with the Jazz on this. I'm wrong with the Jazz on that one.
Why? Like, what would make you think that the Jazz? Is it just the you think
it's like bringing that same exact team back from last year? They know exactly what they got to do.
Yeah.
Same exact squad. They was in the situation last year. Splashy balled out of his mind to help propel that team to a playoff team. Lottie got lucked up and left Milwaukee into a running situation. I think they just pick up where they left off last year, and with the Pacers, this is all new for 630. Yes, they have all the veterans around them, like Swizzerk. I don't think Swizzerk hasn't been in this position before, or Wolf. No, they were in the playoff with Ramo. That's right. Yeah, they're in the playoff with Ramo. And like those guys, they usually get first rounded, and it's all new to them too. So I would say Jazz, they're just gonna pick up where they left off. I don't think they don't get back to. I think they get back to the Final Four with that same squad.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I think that when we look at the Jazz, I mean this team I think is more playoff built than the Pacers. I think that when it comes to the Pacers, yes, they'll bring that strong defense, but I think Splashy's just gonna. He's going to do his thing. It's going to be splashy. I think Rhea is just going to outplay Jomar. I think the biggest thing is if Splashy is just playing like crap, then yeah, they're going to win. But that's what it comes down to. Shooting guard play wise, the Jazz do concern me. I just don't know what we're going to get at it. Lottie hasn't been. Lottie's obviously been better. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'll take that back. But I just think that the Jazz are just more playoff ready and playoff built. They've been here before. They're ready to finish the job. I'm going Jazz here. Warriors versus T-Wolves. I just think the T-Wolves are. I hate to say it. They are. It's going to be T-Wolves Wizards. That's what everyone wants to see. I think that's a great game. I'm going to go with T-Wolves here against the Warriors. There's no way. I think the Warriors have been a subpar team. I think they can get by the Pistons. I do not see them getting by the T-Wolves. You said Pistons. What do you think? Do you think it's possible for the Pistons to get past the T-Wolves, or do you think it's just T-Wolves all the way?
I'm gonna have to go with T-Wolves all the way. They got too much work out of that backcourt. I think that it's gonna be tough to stop those guys. They couldn't stop. They barely stopped one person when they played the Pacers. So I'm gonna have to go with T-Wolves.
Yeah. I think T-Wolves is just they're rocking on all cylinders. They're going to be on. We got to remember this is on stage. Now that's a factor that we have to realize is this is a loud T-Wolves team, and we've talked about maybe they can get distracted, maybe they can get lost in the sauce with their trash talk. But the last time Bear was in the studio in person, he won a title. Let's just remember that. That's last year he wasn't in studio. Last time we were in studio and there was a championship, that's where Bear was. So I'm going with the T-Wolves here. And then we got T-Wolves versus Jazz. That's going to be a hell of a series, man. Let me tell you what. That'd be a fun series to watch just because of the trash talk that's going to happen. But again, we know what happens to Splash in Final Fours, man. It's the Curtis, and he's going against a really tough team. So who do you got? You got T-Wolves or Jazz?
Part of me really wants the Jazz to win. But it's hard to vote against the T-Wolves. But I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna go with Jazz to come out the West.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm gonna give it Yeah, I like it. You know, you're not taking the easy way out. I respect it, yeah, and that's the one thing about your takes compared to most people. You're not going to take the easy way, so I like it. I respect it. I'm going T Wolves, man. You know, respect to everything that's going out. You know, going on. Shout out to Nick and he's done. Shout out to the entire T Wolves organization with Bear, Kai, Saint, Ed Sheeran, Slaughter, and Miles. Man, you know they've been doing great things and. Shout out to that guy, what is it, D. Joe Vegas? You know, shout out to Chris Ehrlich, or Ehrlich, whatever the hell his name is. Shout out to him, man. He's done a great thing. And shout out to JB, man. They've done a great job this year. So I'm gonna go with them in the finals. I think that they're going to the finals. But T-Wolves versus Wizards. Obviously you have Jazz. So Jazz versus Wizards. Who do you got?
Man, I'm gonna switch it up, man. I think we're gonna have a new chick. I'm gonna pick the Jazz. Like win it all.
It's so crazy the fact that like,
you got to think about the teams that are hot. Like, all the three teams, the number one seed never won a championship. They're usually the team that's like that started to win and gain momentum. That usually goes away with it. It was us season 1. It was the T-Wolves season 2. They snuck in and won. And then season 3, we were focused on the Raptors and the Wizards knocked them out. I was like, so the Jazz, we were talking about Jazz being a playoff team halfway through the season. They were like 50-50 team. They're a 500 team. Now they're starting to win. The back half of the season has been really good. So I think they carry that momentum into the playoffs. I think history just keeps repeating itself. So I'm just going to go with Jazz in this one. I might have cursed it, though.
I'm gonna go. I think first of all, T-Wolves versus Wizards. We're gonna get our first 2-time champ ever in 2K League history. We have a very good chance of it, which is wild. And think about it, if the Knicks make playoffs, every single former champ in the championship organization would be in playoffs this year. I think that'd be the first time that's ever happened. So that'd be very interesting. I'm gonna go T-Wolves versus Wizards. I really think the T-Wolves are gonna win the title this year. I know that Bear and Kai and all them are like, champ, shut the fuck up, don't jinx us. I definitely just cursed with T-Wolves. I know Joe is sitting over here screaming right now, just like, shut up, champ, shut up, champ. But I just think that with the Wizards, I like the backcourt more for the T-Wolves than I do with the Wizards. I think that the biggest crutch for the Wizards is the fact that they don't have that Reese to God anymore, and it's, we're relying on B-Rich to show up. So I think we know what Kai and Bear are going to bring. I think it comes down to the T-Wolves, how good their defense can be, and how good can Justin, because Awkward can't stop both Bear and Kai. So that's where I kind of see the issue. So I just, it's hard for me to see Awkward be able to stop both of them. And Dave Fry versus Slaughter, I mean, we've seen this before. I think this is kind of his, redemption. And I think that Slaughter is going to play a lot better in this final. So I'm going T-Wolves all the way. I think that it will be it's best of 5 series. I think that this is going to go Game 5. And I think that we're going to have a 2-time champ in the 2K League. But that's my thought. But anyway, this is pretty much everything that we have for the broadcast tonight. I appreciate Ye coming on. It's been a good broadcast. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that sub button. Make sure you guys hit that follow. I appreciate everybody who has subscribed, everybody who has followed the ESGN. I will try to do like another segment after the ticket happens. But like I said, it's exciting time. We're gonna get in-person playoffs down in Dallas. We're gonna get to see players be in person for the first time. I think that, we have a lot of different types of teams this year, too. I do agree with you, Coach King. There's a lot of different teams this year. We have an opportunity for a 2-time champ in the 2K League, which is awesome. Appreciate it, Brad. I mean, thank you it's always awesome seeing you in the chat. Obviously, Joe, appreciate the support. Shout out to my guys, AJ Reimer and Trevor Brands. I know they're waiting for me to play Call of Duty with them. I'll be right there, boys. We'll be dropping soon. But I appreciate everybody. Please, like I said, I'm going to post this content on, I will be posting it on YouTube later on whenever I get a chance. But again, make sure you guys follow the Twitch channel. And I think that's everything we have. Appreciate all you guys, and I hope all you guys have a good night. Outside the Sticks, checking out.